Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back once again to the StarSeries Season 14 here. This is a current best of 3 between Team ENVYUS and Frag. My name is Blue. I'm unfortunately your only caster for today. I was supposed to get someone to cast with me, but I will say that I overslept a little bit and unfortunately forgot to talk to him, so never could bring him in. That's my fault though. So we're going live now with the second map here on Inferno, and a little bit of a mess up here by ENVYUS as Apex gets stabbed, but hopefully they can win things out here at the beginning of this round, but that doesn't seem to be the case. Frag are going to be the knife champions here so far in this set, as they will pick up this second one as well and get their side choice to start things off here. Obviously going to be jumping onto the CT because this will be Inferno, a very, very volatile map when you look at these side differentials. We'll have to see how that plays out between these two teams, but for the guys over here on both Frag and Team ENVYUS. A lot on the line for Frag at this point. Now starting off on CT, they're going to have to come out in a very big way on this map because we saw a lot of those issues panning back out there from the side of them on that last map on Cash. A lot of trouble, unfortunately, calling the rotations properly. ENVYUS, again, wasn't really even doing anything super special back over on Cash. They were basically just doing pretty default setups and trying to walk into the site in a lot of these rounds. But for Frag, problems with the rotations, problem trying to catch up to the members of ENVYUS, and just general, team cohesion problems here with ENVYUS constantly finding their entries led to them dominating most of the first half there on their own starting side, and unfortunately that threw them off right from the beginning of this. So from NDK, he's actually just going to lead the charge, going through long hauls here inside of the apartments, trying to take out Dreamer, but they don't realize he's actually still on top. Thankfully, Apex quick to handle it, and man, these guys are like a race car right now. NVK just still rushing through now inside of Library now too, taking a duel versus Spy Leader. Spy Leader going to pick up one, trying to take out Kenny as well. More assistance coming back in, but Happy, good trigger resistance for now, trying to wait out Bubble here, but Bubble is going to spot him first, and now they just get the dual spray angle, finding him, and now unfortunately just Victor getting 1, 2 nice shots on both Happy and Kenny, bringing this down to a 1 versus 2, moving his way back in to try and find that retake. There is a kid on the ground right in front of him, so he's got a little bit more time to work with, but he's overwhelmed by Apex and Keo, and both those guys are going to be able to shut him back out, and what do you know, ENVYUS started off well here again on map number 2 by picking up the first point. Immediately going into the investments on the Mac 10s will be Kenny and Keo, Happy and Apex picking up the AKs. I imagine NBK will pick up an AK as well. We'll see in a second. He actually picks up a Galil, so they'll take it a little bit lighter so they can have enough utility. But for Frag, they go for the forced investment. Full 5 smokes for the entire team, and an HE grenade sitting over here for Victor as well. And then when we look at the guys over here from the side of Team ENVYUS, they are going to have to ensure that they don't run into any big problems here with just getting out-angled by the members of Frag, which is why they're taking it much, much slower this time around here. Just holding themselves back on Banana for the time being, not really committing to anything just as of yet. Trying to investigate, see if they can find anybody by Nubox, looking over to those guys, but most of the defense here from the side of Frag has positioned himself just outside of A, and they're waiting for a push to come in through mid-choke. Even Spy Leader 2 has started to rotate in. Some of these grenades have been thrown over towards B, is making Frag think it's a fake towards A, but this is the exact opposite of what's happening. They're trying to purposefully force them off, and it's working out great because now you only have Victor to defend this. He's going to grab 1 kill on Keo, as we somewhat expected there with a close angle battle, but it's almost immediately traded back out there by Apex. The rotations will come in quickly enough, I guess you could say, for Frag, but the plant comes out. Spy Leader spotted the planter, but not going to be able to catch them. However, no one's really being punished over there either, so he's allowed to shoot freely. Thankfully, the aim is not where it needs to be, and Kenny is able to react to that and take him down without him actually killing any of his teammates here. And now the rest of Frag, unfortunately, just going to have to fall back. They've got an okay investment, and they would be on basically nothing in the next round anyway, so this is still going to be a good choice to fall back and save now instead of looking for that economical damage onto the members of Team ENVYUS. No way they're going to be able to pull off that 3 versus 4, especially when not a single player has found the scavenged rifle off of potentially the body of Keo and whatnot. So they'll move out. They should be safe. No one else I expect anyway will be going down here in the post round, as everybody's in their own little corner of the map here, with Frag sitting themselves on A and ENVYUS just off of B. So again, that'll be a second point as we somewhat expected from ENVYUS, and they pick things up there. Frag, again, like we said before, they get the notice that the push is coming into B, but they're sort of tricked by that play from ENVYUS with the early smoke that comes in. They think it's going to be a fake over towards the A site, but this is not the case at all. In fact, they're just trying to purposefully get more rotations off, and it works out brilliantly. And by the time Spy Leader realizes what's going on and starts to rotate back, it's far too late already. And for the rest of the guys on A, we know how rough that rotation can be, especially with a big 5-man take moving in from ENVYUS. Very, very hard indeed for you to get yourself onto the positioning in time. And many, many rounds, even when you look at both teams having full gun investment here, it becomes extremely hard for that retake to happen if that B take goes so successfully in the way that ENVYUS had it going for themselves in the previous round. So they line up for basically the same thing again here. They'll obviously keep obviously be keeping Happy to place some pressure back over here inside of middle. What he hasn't noticed as of yet there is that SpyLeader's pushed himself out over there onto the window room, but he's actually not going to push any further than that, so it won't become too big of a factor. And if he's picking up, he actually should have noticed they've actually started this rotation a little bit early, so this is actually going to be pretty messy, trying to find their way into the site. You've got Victor holding things off, and Apex taking a very long time to take him down. Bubble finding a second kill now for the CTs in order to dispatch Kenny, leaving 3 alive here. The nade goes deep, but not going to connect on anybody. And as for the rest of the members of EFrag here, they're all here. They're ready for this retake, just waiting for that plant to happen, and I imagine they will strike pretty quickly. So Envy has to be very, very careful about this one. Bubble trying to investigate. There's an extremely good smoke setup here from the side of ENVYUS, so these guys are going to have to be careful about the way they proceed into it. Happy takes a risk, pushes out, finds a kill. NKL there for the trade, though, but they're doing a good job of holding them back for the time being. But now Bubble's starting to push back in over here through the garden. Keo finding a second kill into NKL. Bubble looking for that way back in. He's picked up a Mac 10, and there we go. Dreamer finding another kill. Now it's down to a 1 versus 1, but Dreamer's going to be able to close it out. Finds the headshot with the 5-7, takes down Keo. Now the question is, does he have enough time for the defuse? Should be have plenty, actually. No trouble at all for this if he's coming out for EFrag, and that's actually a great third round from these guys that comes out. They're going to bring it up to 2-1. Bit of a mistake being made there by ENVYUS, trying to use the same plan twice. As EFrag catch onto it this time and rotate somewhat preemptively into the site there to catch it. And we actually saw, too, that I think it was Happy that was ducked back over there towards middle. He was sort of sitting behind the barrel trying to hide his head and keep himself a little bit more hidden to potentially open up a flank angle. If he had seen this coming a little bit earlier, then potentially ENVYUS could have prepared for this as well, and they could have tried to counter it out. But they don't do this, and EFrag basically overwhelmed them right from the start. And that's a great play that comes out from EFrag there. Counting on the repetitiveness from ENVYUS, and it plays out great. So now they're going to be able to get the first point onto the board, first round onto the board, apologies, way, way earlier than previously. And this should immediately make things a little bit more competitive. Obviously, ENVYUS, with them having as clean of a second round as they did, will still be able to force up at least one more buy here. Keo being the one exception, as he has to downgrade himself over towards a Deagle. But the rest of these guys are sitting on full AKs, and they already make their way through the mid-choke point, but a grenade does a little bit of damage to them early into this round as well, so not necessarily the best start. They've also, again, heard all of this noise happening towards A, so SpyLeader will be coming over to assist on the rotate from B, only leaving Victor to defend that B site. And as for ENVYUS now, they're going to try to make this push. NBK moving in, but a great shot from SpyLeader. Just the blind spray through the smoke. Catches a headshot at NBK and takes him down. So that's going to stop ENVYUS from pushing it on that angle. They don't want to test that once again there. SpyLeader's on his game right now. They do not want to go into that direction. They should know, too, if they figure this out from early, that SpyLeader's going to be there. SpyLeader's already rotated in, so they know there's extra defense over here. And it's just a massive shutdown from EFrag here in their second round pickup. Nothing being gained by ENVYUS at all. They've been smoked off. They didn't really have what they needed to get themselves through that area. And EFrag, just with a massive setup against these players, is absolutely going to dispatch them with no trouble whatsoever. And now we have to see the members of Team ENVYUS. They'll have to go for a pretty quick save here. And basically we'll invest nothing in this round here. A couple Deagles coming into the picture. P250s for Kyoshima and Happy. And then Kenny goes for the Tech 9 buy. But for the rest of these guys, again, no armor, no utility. So we should be able to see EFrag just close this round with very little trouble whatsoever, as now they've gotten their feet onto the ground here. Their buys too, and their SpyLeader once again. Very good impact on this map already coming out from this player. Being able to drop Apex very, very early on. And that's not going to be the best start for ENVYUS, as they're trying to make this sneaky play to get themselves in a good position to find angles on the members defending the B site, but they seem ready for it here. SpyLeader, again, is holding a very, very short angle against the members of ENVYUS for the event when they push in. Victor hanging back a little bit more in the event he does lose his teammate. And then the other player there that was trying to force something a little bit sneaky would have been NBK, but now these guys are going to start to work in. There's SpyLeader picking up one kill. Victor mainly just trying to keep himself alive here, and again, more kills coming back out here. SpyLeader's going to try to press himself up. You can hear it there as that little bit of a sound bug continues to work its ways as Victor takes some heat there, but he's still able to hide behind new box with no triple whatsoever, and ENVYUS without any armor or utility to find their way into that B site. We're going to make no progress at all. EFrag with just a massive setup doesn't let them do anything, and this is where that CT-sidedness of the map starts to come into play here now that they've gotten a good advantage about themselves, and this is a very quick buildup of their money too, which is going to become dangerous. 9.8 already sitting on Dreamer. And the lowest player they have right now is sitting at 4.2, so everybody at the very least here, even if we see ENVYUS picking up this round, is going to have enough to go for a full rebuy, including for the most part, basically a full utility stack. So these guys are going to be looking a little bit rough, to be completely honest, if if they don't start to get to at least some damage onto the economy here from ENVYUS pretty shortly. ENVYUS, again, picking up the 2 rounds at the beginning are good, but we expect those 3 to come into play off of that 3rd round. It's a bit of a disappointment that they don't actually manage to find that one. So now the problem is going to be finding 3 to 4 more rounds that ENVYUS need to get themselves over that sort of minimal round score that we expect the T's to pick up over here on Inferno. Kenny, again, is another factor that has to come into the factor too, because as an opper on this T side, unfortunately, he's not really going to be able to perform as well just because the op on T-side Inferno is extremely hard to work against in many situations, and with the angles that EFrag are holding, again, they're playing a very passive CT setup, so unfortunately, there's not really a whole lot of room for Kenny to watch out for over-aggression, say, players moving in behind the car, or players pushing out against alt-mid, and stuff like that, that just goes way into the enemy territory, which Kenny could easily punish. There's none of that going on right now from EFrag, so it just doesn't make sense for him to go for an op, especially when his team's money has not been that well established as of yet. But now we see again here, there's a smoke that ends up coming in there from Happy, trying to hold off the rotation from the A site. It's working for now, but I don't imagine that it's going to play games with them for very long here, as Victor's going to pick up the first kill. Spy Leader behind Nubox finding a second one here too, as they attempt to try and find their way in. There's NBK picking up one, but Victor finding yet another kill, finding another one on the Happy too. Great swipe spray. 8 seconds left of the clock as well, so if NBK doesn't find this kill, it's going to be all over. There we go, Victor single-handedly closing out the round. The referee does lose the support of Spy Leader, but easily able to handle that B-sided defense. And EFrag now find a 4th round for themselves. Starting to get a little bit of a lead going here, as once again ENVYUS have to go on to another eco, as they haven't gotten themselves onto that full losing bonus just as of yet, nor have they been able to get themselves with a whole lot of plants. So that's going to become another problem if that continues on for too much longer. But the grenade rolls right on the Kio's face there early on in the round, already bringing him down to 27 HP. Not the best situation here for ENVYUS. And the rest of these players now pushing out long haul and in various areas of the apartments. One holding back too, that's going to be Keo for fairly obvious reasons at this point, and NBK has been found out trying to find his way back from this one. They even spot a player coming out boiler. They know where the play is happening now, so it would not be too unwise to see Spy Leader move in and offer some extra support to this A site, but he's going to stick around because they haven't actually had any verification that ENVYUS have pushed further outside of the apartments just as of yet. In fact, there's pretty strong reason to believe they might have fallen away from this one, but if NKL saw NBK, then they're gonna know that they're still sitting very well inside of here, and especially now that again they start to push themselves outside of boiler a little bit. Now they can definitely call that rotation if it's even necessary, which it might not be, because right now it's just a shutdown. Kenny's been the only one to pick up a kill, and that in fact is gonna be the only kill they get at all in this round. EFrag shut it down once again. Dreamer picking up a lot of kills that round, of course, and now sitting $600 away from being at max money because of this one. And for ENVYUS, there's no impact at all can they get on this T side. It's almost a completely different story from what we saw on the last map there. ENVYUS having so much trouble on this T side doing anything at all, to be completely honest. Just being constantly found out by EFrag due to very good positioning. Very passive CT-sided setup doesn't give ENVYUS a whole lot of room, and the setups and whatnot from ENVYUS. It seems that they want to try to play this forced game, but it's just not going to play off. Now we see, however, EFrag getting aggressive, and it just does not pan out for these guys whatsoever here. 2 kills being brought out immediately there by Kiyoshima. He is dropped down to 23 HP, and they lose Kenny early on in the round because of this type of play, but they're able to hold back this aggression, and they get 2 kills on the members of EFrag. So this is a great start from ENVYUS, and now this is going to be about building upon this one too. They still have to deal with NKL inside the apartments if they push that. He's sitting inside a bedroom. And for Spy Leader and Bubble, they're on the A site too. B's wide open if they go for this one. NKL even pushes back out. They've been re-verified that there's still pressure in alt middle and they're not outside of the A site right now. So the 2 that are here on A right now have no reason to leave it, but Spy Leader getting sneaky now inside of the apartments. He's going to look to get a flanked angle. There's no one to challenge him too. He can just walk right in on these guys, and if nobody's watching for a boiler push, there we go. Trying to get Happy, a little bit messy on it though, so they're going to get time to prepare for this one. And there we go. He's going to go down after he finds that frag. He also, of course, lost his teammate just a couple of seconds ago. It's not even going to be like there's anyone else on the A site to hold things off for him. So if he was a little bit more quiet about that, had he waited a couple extra seconds to try and find out, Happy, he might have been able to have more success from that angle. But not a whole lot of trigger discipline from him. And because of that one, he's found out very early and is not able to get that crazy play that I think everybody wants to see from him. So finally, of course, ENVYUS picking up a round for themselves and with a chance to swing back into this game now. We see Kiyoshima going for the peak, but that doesn't play out very well for him at all, as he's already down to 28 HP because of that one. Multiple players here from EFrag. In fact, they've committed 3 to the B site. 3 of which have pushed down over here. And a good nade to some degree ends up coming in. Victor now down at 27 HP as well, so he's actually fallen way back from this one as he took that damage in the earlier duel versus Kiyoshima, but now fading away from this one. NBK, great spray transfer, picking up not only Spy Leader but Bubble as well, and now Victor has to fight for this one, peeking out, trying to get some damage, but ends up falling to Apex. Now this is a very clean take, and this round's already over. EFragger's saving, and I think the members of ENVYUS are already aware of this one. Apex is pushing out. He's trying to see if he can catch some of the members here from the CT-sided team and take them down before they can get themselves in a safer position and save. And the rest of ENVYUS is looking to do the same thing. But when we look at ENVYUS, actually, again, they're still trying to build up their very unestablished economy at this point. And at the same time, also 31 HP, 28 HP, and 18 HP on Kenny, Kyo, and NBK respectively. Happy and Apex should have no trouble hunting down these final 2 players, but with the other 3 being very low, they're going to want to stay out of combat because they want to try and save what they have. And there's Apex finding one of the final 2 surviving members here, and KL sort of AFK, it would seem, as Happy rounds that corner, not reacting to that one at all. So he's going to get dropped. And I think he might have disconnected, actually, as we see the corresponding pause coming out here from the side of EFrag, considering this player seems to be having a couple connection issues. Double check the ping right now. His ping's a little bit up there, but not really anything that would severely impact him, as it's slowly dipping back down there right now, floating around the 80 mark. Just waiting for him to reestablish himself, and then as soon as he's good to go, we'll unpause this game. But now ENVYUS, again, they seem to have found a little bit more of their momentum here. EFrag, like we were talking about before, had really good setups, but in some of these rounds, for whatever reason, they decided to change the game plan up a little bit and play things more aggressively. We see this blind push coming down middle, and that does not really play out so well for these players. They get a 2-for-1 trade against them. They get some good damage onto at least one other player from ENVYUS, but ultimately end up losing the round a couple moments later. And then from that, they transfer this into the next round where they try to go for a 3-man commitment. Again, aggression from the side of EFrag as they try to play things a little bit more front and forward here onto the B site. Pushing out towards Car, they lose a lot of those players too. So unfortunately, they end up getting shut down there once again by the members of ENVYUS because they play things a little bit too closely, and that seems to be where ENVYUS have the advantage, where they get these close-range battles, especially when they have advanced intel as to what exactly is going on from the side of EFrag on their defense here too. It makes it a lot easier for ENVYUS, and ENVYUS, of course, reestablishing themselves pretty nicely now. Having those first 2 rounds to begin with is going to help because we do see a nice 5-round streak coming out there from the side of EFrag, but with 2 more being picked up by ENVYUS, we're now, once again, just 1 round away from seeing things tied up. So, not the best advantage being gained here by the members of EFrag just as of yet. They need to try and prevent ENVYUS from really getting any further. They need to get quick control of this one because, again, they had a great amount of money built up here from this 5-round streak, but it's all basically gone away now. As we see, Spy Leader at 4.7, Bubbles at 6.4k, and the buyout now coming from Dreamer and Victor. These guys are going to be a little bit lower here as things continue. I don't exactly know where NKL is sitting, but I imagine he's more around the 5 to 6k mark. So after this next buy here, these guys are once again basically just going to be brought back down. Thankfully, they'll be buying through a losing bonus, and if they continuously lose the rounds here, they shouldn't have too much trouble. Say maybe one awkward buy or 2 should get them back on their feet, but it will be a couple free rounds that could go by the way of ENVYUS once they get themselves back into the normal path of things, and that's where the issues start to show, and that's where ENVYUS can take a pretty big lead. So it does look like we're having some connection problems here from the side of EFrag, so we're going to turn up the tunes really quickly, guys, as soon as we have both of these players back in and unreadied, or unpaused, I guess would be the more appropriate term. We will get right back to the cast, guys, but stick around. We'll be back in just a few moments here with more of EFrag versus Team ENVYUS. Alright, there we go. Everybody's back in the game now, so hopefully we won't have that issue once again, but we've been on pause now. So, resuming this one, for anybody that's just joining us, this is efrag.net versus Team ENVYUS for the StarSeries Season 14. Frag currently leads the way here on map number 2, but ENVYUS has the set advantage, 1-0 at the moment. However, this round starting off very, very quickly from the side of Team ENVYUS on their own aggression, pushing their way back out over here. A big balcony play. Dreamer's going to hold back for a couple moments, but still, at the end of the day, only able to find 1 kill as ENVYUS trades out 2 more right back at that. Bubble holding the close corner, finds another kill as he takes down Kiyoshima, but NBK is there to take out this one too. Happy in the cubby, shuts out Spy Leader, and just like that, combat's basically done for. Victor is the last one alive, sitting over here on highway. Tried for the rotate, but was stopped short, as he's now the last player alive in a 1 versus 3. So, as Foon bounces his way over here inside of construction, he's just going to keep himself inside of here and look to save this rifle, along with a whole lot of utility that he's got sitting behind him too, and the armor. So, it doesn't actually look like ENVYUS are challenging him for the time being. ENVYUS are kind of screwing around, to be completely honest. Kenny just flashed himself. So, those guys, again, are going to move out. I imagine NBK will be hunting him down, but with the current rate that he's sort of exploring the map, shouldn't be able to take down Victor in time, as he's in a very safe spot. And even if he is challenged, he can probably take out the first player. So, he's going to be good. He saves that rifle, but ENVYUS went up the round once again, and this is going to be probably the last force from EFrag we can see. Full losing bonus means they can actually, full losing bonus, which is going to be coming up in 2 rounds, means that they can actually pretty consistently buy things up here. But this is going to be the last big buy we have from these players, and that's the big key thing here at this point. They need to try and stop this now re-aggression that ENVYUS has found with themselves. They need to try and stop this right here. Otherwise, ENVYUS are going to retake control of this half very quickly, and that's not what needs to happen for Team Side Inferno at all. So immediately here, Victor getting himself into combat as ENVYUS actually tried a very dry push to get themselves onto the B site here, and it's not really going very well at all here. Apex is able to take out Victor finally and eliminate the natural site defenders, but it's down to a 2 versus 3 now, as ENVYUS are going to lose a whole lot of players on the way in there. Big amount of kills being picked up by Victor and Spy Leader. They find 3 out of 5. Bubble's already in a good position to try and counter these guys out, trying to find Happy, but Apex has to rely on Happy that he doesn't overpeak this one, and now he comes out. He's going to be able to re-execute there, and obviously, as you can see, Happy being pressured in a big way there behind second Arches. They know exactly where he is. Apex trying to help his teammate out a little bit there too. Hugging the pole. That's a very dangerous spot, but they closed it out anyway. The 2 versus 3. Huge plays from the members of Team ENVYUS. Technically a 2 versus 4 there, as it was brought down to those 2 before they have finally eliminated the last player sitting on the B site. Very well played by those players. And again, ENVYUS bounce right back, and for EFrag, they're out of cash. They've got to go for the save here. Nothing being invested this round besides the upgraded pistols. 2 Deagles being brought in. 2 CCs on Bubble and Victor. And Dreamer just with a P250. Victor also the only player that has armor. He's going to lead the charge as these guys get aggressive on Banana once again. Actually held back a little bit here. Waiting for the peak to come out from ENVYUS, but these guys are going to look for their way out. They don't realize that Spy Leader's just on the other side. He'll get traded out there by Kiyoshima. And now Spy Leader faltering back a little bit here. They even stack up a little bit here. Spy Leader looking for a headshot with a Deagle, but can't seem to find anything as now ENVYUS waltz right in. And oh, that's embarrassing for Spy Leader. It's that close and still can't kill him. And now Kenny moving in, finding another frag as well. Takes down NKL. Dreamer getting a long battle here versus Kenny, but Kenny is once again going to win this one. We do have Bubble with a little bit of a good angle inside of that smoke, but ultimately Kyo is ready for him as well. Takes him out. And now ENVYUS finding their 7th round here. Getting that lead back in a good way. Now they're the ones with a really good economy. And as for the members of EFrag, thankfully going for just 1 single save is enough to put them right back up to a full gun buy with a good amount of utility as well, which is the key thing. But again, for ENVYUS, now starting to take that lead back. They want to hold on to it here, as they had a very big lead in the last map to work off of too, and it took them a little bit longer to win the game than needed necessarily, so a bit of a mistake early on in the round there from Apex, as takes away about 22 HP from 2 of his teammates, including himself. So, not the best nade to start things out here for Team ENVYUS, but again, if they can bring this up to the 10-5 half and restore the balance necessarily, then that could mean a very, very good start here to things in the second half as well, assuming they can pick up the pistol and they make it through the next 2 rounds too. So EFrag have actually caught on to this, as you can take a look and see here. They realize that this push is going to be coming in. Akio tries to go for the drop plate balcony, but is shut down pretty quickly. Look at NKL. He's waiting in cubby. Oh, did he DC again? God damn it. I think he's DC'd again. So it's just going to be Bubble here. NKL's a dead man. Yeah, they want to reset this round because NKL crashed according to them. So it's 2 versus 1 for this one, depending on the decision that ENVYUS make. I think they're probably going to leave that up to the players, more than likely. considering this happened like way in the middle of the round. So if ENVYUS want to continue this one, then it's completely up to them, but they're gonna be good sports about it. Kenny says that they'll reset it, so this round will be replayed, ladies and gentlemen. It's not gonna be 8-5, still it's 7-5. ENVYUS are going to be very good sports about that one, so give props to them. And for EFrag, obviously, again, I think this is a little bit of a factor that's out of NKL's control anyway, so he's going to be DC'd once again. And, well, this round doesn't mean anything at all, because obviously this one will be replayed anyway, so we just have to wait for the admins to wake up and reset the game, and then we should be able to jump right back on to round number 13 once again. So again, though, assuming that round does still play out the way that it was the way that it was expected to be, you can sort of see the way that the economy will build itself up to by looking at the money here now. With that loss, EFrag again will be faced with a choice of whether they would like to force up, and it would be forced up with probably a couple pistols in play, maybe a FAMAS and whatnot, or they will have to go for another eco round, which puts ENVYUS at the 9-6 at best for EFrag. Potentially 10-5 too if they can win out the final gun round. So this is ENVYUS again, and this is a very unfortunate thing. I think we've already talked about this a little bit here, but for the side of EFrag, they start off this half really good, a great setup for them. But unfortunately, by never really changing things up, and even when they do, it just doesn't go that well. So they kind of have to go back to the plan that was working. But even when they've decided to do this, ENVYUS have now figured out the setup they were finally working towards. So they're able to get themselves right back into the game. And now started picking up these rounds just left and right here, which has given them a huge lead back. They were down at one point here, 4-2, but have now brought this back up to 5-8 in their favor. This is a great comeback from ENVYUS, but a bit of an unfortunate toppling of the CT side here from EFrag. Well, on this map, at least, they should be leading it by a much larger margin. And we talked about some of the other factors here before. Kenny, who I don't think has picked up the op yet here in this round, or in this half, I should say. Once he jumps onto the CT side, we will be seeing that come into the picture a lot more clearly. And that is going to be just another thing that EFrag have to try and stop. And EFrag actually, I don't think they've bought it up here as well. They've definitely had the economy to do so if they wanted to, but they've been avoiding it purposefully. So they've stuck away from this one. Again, though, it does look like the admin is taking a little bit longer than necessary to get himself into this one to try and do the match medic, or they're just trying to figure that out. Oh, there we go. Actually, might not have to actually go for the music break, as it looks like the admins have reset it now. There we go. All right, so it's back down to 5-7 now, guys, and we should be resuming this one as soon as we end up getting NKL back into the game. But I will turn up the music really quickly, so as soon as he rejoins, guys, we'll get right back to this game. Alright, let's try this again. Unpaused and ready to go now. We'll see if we have those connection issues once more here, but for EFrag, now back down at 5-7. The last round that was actually played out, just remember, ladies and gentlemen, that does not count. ENVYUS agreed to reset it. So it's back down to 5-7 now. ENVYUS still has a lead here. EFrag as well, back up to a full buy for themselves. A little bit more limited on utility again, as we talked about before, just in terms of what they have for flashbangs and whatnot. So probably won't see anything super aggressive out of them, but just as I say that, look at what we have. We're coming out here specifically from Bubble. He's pressing his way forward. They actually move Victor back over here towards the A site in the event that ENVYUS are going to do the same thing that they did when this round was played out previously if they go for the safe push. But they're actually holding back quite nicely this time and waiting exactly for EFrag to play into them. As Bubble's sitting back once again now, just outside of the smoke. He's going to try and see if either NBK or Keo try to push in against them. But now you've got Apex putting himself back up on top of the balcony there. He will get smoked, so it's going to be a little rough for him to push back out, but he again actually has a whole lot of room to work with because of this smoke, so now he's going to press in, but as you see, oh, NVK and Bubble get into a nice battle there. Bubble very slow on their reaction to it though, so NVK is going to be able to shut him down despite not even having his gun out when he rounds the corner. Happy finding another kill here to take down Spy Leader as well, and now NKL, he's trying to push back in over here to help out with the B site, but they've already taken control of it. There's nothing they can do about this. Not only this, but they've driven a wedge in between them, so Happy is sitting in between these players. He's just going to drop NKL, looking for Victor. Thankfully, Victor finds a trade on to Happy at the very least, but these final two players are going to have to look to save their rifles. As there is nothing they can do about this 2 versus 3 now. It's going to go by the way of ENVYUS, and they will bring it up to 8-5 here in the favor of themselves. And for EFrag, thankfully, because of these 2 rifle saves, assuming they aren't able to get both of them, they should still be in an okay position to possibly have a semi-decent buy going into the next round. I mean, they'll still have a semi-decent buy regardless because they're on the full Z bonus now. But as you see Kenny moving in, he's actually going to drop Victor. So they've only got 1 rifle saved, and unfortunately that does not make a good save make. So we'll see the buy-ups coming out once again. Dreamer should have a good amount of utility because he already has his rifle in play. It'll be the same story for NKL because he downgrades himself to FAMAS. But for Spy Leader, and to some degrees Bubble and Victor as well, not really going to be having it. And overall, just, I mean, we can talk about the money all freaking day, but the big problem here is, again, they've lost their bit of spunk that's been allowing them to win these rounds on the CT side. They tried to change up the game plan and play things more aggressively. They've been trying these different sort of rotations. They've been trying to put players in all these different positions and whatnot, but it just has not been playing out well for them. They need to go back to what's been working, and I talked about this before too. Even when they went back to that a couple of these rounds ago, even that failed a little bit. So now we can see they're going to try to work their way back in. It's a 2-for-1 trade initially. This is a good start for EFrag, but they've lost a lot of ground on the site, and again, are just revealing themselves to the members of Team ENVYUS. Apex finding another kill on the Spy Leader, who's extremely out in the open, and KL trying to round out against Kenny S. He is going to be able to win this battle. And now Apex jumping up, going to look for the frag over here on the Bubble, brings him down very low to 40 HP. Victor really the only player that's alive who's got a lot of HP left to work with and a lot of maneuvering room for NKL and Bubble. These two have to be extremely careful about the way they proceed into these sites, as they're both extremely low and can be easily picked up. There's Apex and Keo fighting 2 of the low players, and Victor 2 again out in the open trying to make a push. The timing on that just does not work out right against Apex. He's going to pick up 3 kills for this round, and ENVYUS now will find their 9th round against EFrag. 9-5 is the round score here. And for EFrag, once again now, will go for their biggest force up they can afford, even worse than the last round. And for ENVYUS, obviously, everything they need is on the table. And they might be looking at a 10-5 here, unless EFrag's bit of aggression works out good for them. They do get some damage on the Kenny early on to bring him out to 60 HP. But so far, nothing else transpiring, and they're not really going to find anybody as of yet. But because of the wide open position they place themselves in back over here on Banana, they are at the very least going to see that these things are getting tossed into here. And look at this cross. Actually, this is a great hold here coming out from Victor, along with Spy Leader. They have to disperse it a little bit, but they're just shutting these players down left and right. Kenny finally going to be able to pick up 1, but now it's a 2 versus 4. Victor's going to get hit pretty heavily by that nade. And look, even NVK is saying, like, that was a bit of an interesting position they placed themselves into, because they basically take a huge risk in that play. And it works out great for those two, as with Spy Leader and Victor just sit side by side and just become a 2-man machine gun, just firing on everybody from ENVYUS that tries to push into the site. And they do not expect that play at all. So it's just going to be Happy now, looking to try and clutch this out in a 1 versus 3. Decoy comes down, and the plant's going to move out. Bubble, if he peeks it, Happy's going to be a dead man. Not so quickly as we were expecting, but Bubble still ends up winning the 1 versus 1 there. Takes down Happy, and that is going to close out the half, guys. It'll be 9-6. EFrag with a good play on the final round of the half. Do manage to scrounge through with at least one more round, but look at the way it went here throughout this half. A great beginning to it by EFrag, bringing it up to 2-5 in their favor, but then it's ENVYUS basically from that point forward, picking up 7 rounds in a row, bringing themselves to 9 points, and then EFrag pick up at least 1 more towards the end. So it's not hugely futile just as of yet, but the big problem is now that ENVYUS have picked up those 9 rounds on their T side. So jumping onto the CT side, where we already saw a good performance from them back on Cash. If they're able to look just as strong there, and the communication aspect does not become an issue today, for EFrag, they absolutely have to have a crazy strategy on this T side to come through and come out on top of this one, because otherwise it's going to be a shutdown from ENVYUS, and more than likely we're just going to be looking at a 2-0 victory here for these guys in today's match. They push their way for now on the EFrag side, get themselves inside the apartments, and Keo taking a little bit of a duel with Victor. Not going to be able to take either of them down just as of yet, but Kenny waiting with a smoke here. Try and hold these guys back outside in the event they do push through against it here. Keo, wider peak this time, but still no dice. Not going to be able to take anybody out. He's brought down to 67 HP, so he's going to want to hold back a little bit. And the push comes outside of Boiler too. Apex taking some shots, gets some good damage onto the members of EFrag, but still nothing being killed as of yet here. And NBK beating it too. A lot of damage going onto the members of ENVYUS, whereas very little of it gets traded back over here onto EFrag. But Apex looking for a flank here, going to try to find some of these guys out as they go for the pinch back over here in mid-choke. They found Spy Leader, he goes to the floor. Another player here too, Victor. They don't actually spot him initially, he's in a very good position, so he's not only going to be able to take out one, but very quickly he's traded out there by Apex to take him down. Happy finding a second frag now over here onto Bubble to eliminate him. Dreamer sneaking into the site, trying to get this plant, but he prioritizes the kill onto Apex first. That pays off, he's going to find it. Now in a 3-on-2, waiting for the rotations of his teammates, trying to catch Dreamer as he moves outside of the box there. Nolan's going to take some damage. Now hides inside of the library as well as the rest of his teammates get into position. NBK taking a very long route now, as we can see, trying to wrap his way back around to these players. And NKL sitting up on the balcony, not going to be able to connect. They know where he is. Happy not only takes down Dreamer, but again, like we said before, they found the location of NKL, so they're going to push him back. And NBK is going to find that final frag as well. Kenny's got the kit, so there was plenty of time for ENVYUS to work this anyway, but they will close out the pistol round in their favor. And now lead 10-6. Bringing themselves into the lead just that much more. And Keo gonna go for the old man gun here now, playing himself back over, potentially over towards the B site. But for EFrag, pardon me, they will go for their big investment here now in the second round by just going for the Tech 9 armored buy-up. They don't get a, they actually, well, what's interesting here is they do get a plant. So they could have saved here and taken it light and gone for the third round force up, but they decide against this now. And decided to just take the usual route by going for the Tech 9 force, which may catch ENVYUS off guard a little bit, but I think with their rifle and investments they have to some degree sort of expected this one. Happy not going to have the best start to this round. There's a great nade that comes in there from the members on the B site here from EFrag, but as they push themselves in, Victor just going to rip apart Happy as he presses in, looking for more that's sitting behind that smoke, but obviously no one is there. He's actually going to toss the rifle back over here to Spy Leader for him to use this one. The resmoke comes in from ENVYUS, and ENVYUS is going to offer a little bit more support to that B site too, but it's misplaced. The play is coming towards the A site, so they're going to have to be careful of this one. However, Victor doing a great job of convincing them otherwise. He's gonna get somewhat shut down there as a greatly timed flash comes out, but now Keo, there's the shotgun kill, misses up the second one, so Dreamer, he's gonna find a response to it. Not just this, but Spyler now armed with a rifle pushing it, he's gonna be able to find Apex, now down to a 2 versus 3 here. They've got the site control here back over on A. And we can see Kenny trying to push his way back out too, but he's got to be careful. No actual aggression going up against him, as most of these players are in sight and they haven't even realized. Had Kenny pushed out, probably could have had some great success, but that nade's going to hit him right in the face. Down to 51 HP now, and also you got Spy Leader to deal with back up on balcony. He wasn't here before. This was an open path to just press up to the site through Rap side, but now it's been dispatched, and it's going to be very volatile if they do decide to go into here. They've got nothing to work with it either. No smokes, no flashes, really nothing. Push themselves into this one, so they've got to hide back. Maybe try to find 1 or 2 lucky kills here. There's going to be NBK picking up 1. This might actually prompt them to push out. Almost finds a second kill here too. Brings NKL down very low, but has to force him outside now as the timer goes far too low. They will hand over the round to EFrag. They will keep things close on their T side for the time being. Just a +3 advantage for ENVYUS as we started off before. And that is immediately going to upset the balance here on ENVYUS' economy. They will have to go for whatever they can scrounge up here as they'll be forcing it up. They want to look for the trade back, but EFrag has a very strong advantage in this round now too, with 5 rifles actually being brought into their play. One being brought in for free off of Victor scavenging one of those. And from the side of ENVYUS, we've got the 2 rifles. Pardon me. And then the 3 pistol upgrades here now for Kiyashima, Happy, and Apex. But EFrag again take pretty much the same path they did in the previous round. Everybody working their way down long haul right now, and Bubble just trying to find a path through mid-choke. Get some good damage on the Kiyo here. There's a player sitting up on top, and a great reaction from Bubble. Not only takes down Apex, but Victor finding Kiyashima here as well, taking him out of the play. Just going to be 3 left alive here versus 5 at this point. 2 of them are still up with the rifles, but Bubble hugging the Jesus pole there. Not going to keep him alive for too long. Thankfully, they do trade some really good damage back over on the Kenny, and he's now down to 2 HP, so he really can't stay in this play for too long. He's got to fall back and away from this one, and Dreamer's waiting for these players inside of the apartment. Shuts out another one. There's going to be 2 left alive. Kenny almost taking down Dreamer, but he's got to be careful with that 2 HP. 1 shot away, and he's dead. And Victor wrapping around now, looking for the shots on NBK. He's going to find it. Takes him out. And Kenny on the run now, so nothing he's going to be able to do. EFrag pick up another round. They're up to 8 to 10. And the 6th round is going to be a full save from ENVYUS. So for EFrag, once again, see exactly where they push their players towards here now. As they're going to move their guys up, mainly throughout middle. A little bit of pressure coming in through middle as well, but ENVYUS have taken a big risk this round. 4-man stack on the B site. Hoping there's a play through Banana. Probably not going to find it, though, judging from the current positions of EFrag here. As they place their players back a little bit more here. And for me, Frag putting a lot of their guys over on T-ramp as well to watch out for a push that would come down Banana. And ENVYUS are thinking about it. They're slowly pressing out a little bit more here. Mainly to try and investigate it, though. Not really going to commit themselves beyond this place just as of yet. And for EFrag, once again now, slowly pressing their players forward here through mid-choke. They're trying to take control of the A site. They realize this is occurring now. Happy hasn't caught on to it just as of yet, but he is going to not see it in a moment, because what's actually happening is EFrag are going for the rat play, and they're going to move themselves around here, trying to watch out for rotations. They do spot NBK, but he falls back, and this is going to be a very confusing play for both teams now, as Kiyo's going to be able to roll right out. He finds the kill over here on a Dreamer. Victor looking for a response, and he's going to be able to pick this up, but Kenny now, he's still got that rifle, and he's going to be able to pick up another kill here on a Victor, finding Spy Leader, and there's Happy shutting down NKL. They're going to pull this off on basically a full eco round. And for Bubble, he's now the last one alive. Has to try and clutch this, but Kenny, inside of Mexico, is going to shut him down. And there we have another round goes by the way of Team ENVYUS, and they had absolutely no business winning that one at all. The only rifle they had came from Kenny. The rest of those guys are basically on their default pistols. That's a big upset now from the side of EFrag. And taking a look at them, they could definitely force up once again. 3 players over the amount that's needed to fly up with a full AK buy. Decent amount of utility sitting behind it too, but for NKL and Bubble, they're going to have to sit a little bit lighter. And that is going to impact them pretty negatively here now. I imagine Victor can actually drop an additional rifle if he wanted to. Like a Galil could probably get tossed over to either Bubble or NKL. So this is still going to be a very sufficient buy. But they're going to be emptying out the bank accounts once again. So any hope of stacking up a great economy to thrust this comeback and make it happen a lot easier has basically been killed at this point. And for ENVYUS here too, they're going to get another chance to rebuild their own. But it hasn't been too solid as of yet. And we still have not seen that off coming into play from Kenny just as of yet as he's stacked away from this one. We have a pause coming in again. They want to unpause it. I think there was just, again, the lag issues coming in there for NKL. He was having those loss problems for whatever reason, which we will not mention on the stream. But it looks like we are getting unpaused about it very, very quickly. So getting right back into the game. And for EFrag, of course, exactly as we expect. Bubble goes for his own buy over here onto a Galil, but for the rest of these guys, AKs and NKL is going to get drop 1 by Victor. We'll see now the members of EFrag pressing their way up again. The same path they started this one off, and they're holding back a little bit just in case ENVYUS decide to get aggressive once again. But this has not been the choices that ENVYUS have been making. They haven't really been given a chance to play anything super aggressively, with the exception of like the sort of later portions of that last round. And that again was not the initial setup that they go for. When they finally get the guns in their hands now, for the most part, when they've had those advantages, they've been playing it back very passively, waiting for EFrag to play into them, and for good reason on that too. This is definitely going to be a round where I feel that they'll do this again, just because of the fact that EFrag have the full arsenal working against them, when it's the same story for EFrag, or ENVYUS I should say. So it's not going to be too beneficial for them to sort of go in blind to where it's not really needed. They would rather have EFrag work against that disadvantage, and that's exactly how they're going to play this one. You can see Keo placing himself back over here on top of the balcony. It's actually a pretty rough setup here against EFrag now that ENVYUS have set up here onto this A site. They're both in two very peculiar positions. One's sitting up on top of the box, probably not going to be expected to be there. Keo is, but again, he's at a bit of an odd angle up on that railing that some players, for whatever reason, may not expect initially. Look at this Apex trying to push in, and Kale doesn't spot him initially, and Kale very messy on that spray, but he does manage to take down Apex in time before he can pick up any kills. Kenny, though, knows they're sitting inside of that smoke, so he's going to be able to finish off NKL. Finding the trade from earlier here, Keo with a good angle. He's going to be able to line up another shot against Dreamer, and there's Bubble. He finds his way through against Kenny, takes him down, but at 12 HP, not a whole lot he can do, so Keo's shutting out Bubble. 10 seconds left on the clock. They need to try and transfer this bomb to the site, but it's not going to be happening right now. Keo just trying to delay this for as long as possible. It's just Victor as the last player alive looking for these frags, but with 1 second left, he can't accomplish that. And actually, I think we saw ENVYUS there delaying that kill a little bit. They almost managed to pull it off, but they actually don't do it towards the end of the round there because things were getting a little bit dodgy, and they almost lost one of their teammates. But had they have actually let him just sit there, because they knew he wasn't going to get bomb control in time, had they let him just sit there on the site until the timer expired, if they killed him, he wouldn't have had any money this round. I don't think they actually end up killing him before the timer goes away, but still, it could have been a pretty interesting play if they decided to do that. Now we see, however, that quite a few players in ENVYUS go down. Finally, the op comes into play from Kenny, but not the best start to it here, as he hasn't used it in quite a while. He's going to unfortunately miss a shot as he tries to get aggressive back over there in the window room. Doesn't spot anything in middle either. There is a whole lot there that he's missed. One coming out of Boiler. Doesn't even notice that Spy Leader's pushing in, so again, dodging death here. Thankfully, Apex is able to support him. Takes out Spy Leader. Now the rest of these guys here from the side of EFrag on the Tech 9 armor buy, or just the Tech 9 buy as it more is here. Trying to work against it. Happy, way too aggressive here. Presses his way in against the members of EFrag back in middle, but doesn't realize that they're all just sitting there very patiently waiting for this exact type of progression to come down from ENVYUS. So they're going to get fed the kill. They even things out back up to a 4 versus 4 now. And they actually are going to try and investigate a B push instead because the A site take not going so well. And now that they have the op to work against from Kenny as well, that could be another factor that is going to be deterring them from proceeding any further. But Dreamer's going to be kept alive here, back over towards that A site. Just try and watch out for any sort of flank that would come back through Banana. They're pushing in, and some good plays are being made here. NKL finding another shot to take out Apex. NBK shuts out both NKL and Bubble from New Box, and now it's just Victor sitting over here. He's going to get taken down. Dreamer's the last one alive. He has to rotate, but NBK stops the show before it goes any further. 20 seconds left here. Dreamer's going to try to move in. He needs to move in to try to get this bomb, but as he waltzes into this site, more than likely, he's going to get shut down here by the players from CT. You can see the crossfire spray angle that comes in. And there we go. He does actually manage to take down NBK and finish him up, but you can see the lines working its way in from CT. There was no way in hell he was going to be able to cross that without going down. So he's taken out, and there is another round that goes onto the board for Team ENVYUS at this point. Starting to take the lead by a very, very big margin now. EFrag go for another force up here. Not really still going to be the best. NKL has a Galil. Same story for Dreamer and Bubble. But Victor and Spy Leader are still down on those pistols and basically zero utility for this round too. So they can't really do anything to force away these players. Kenny taking a bit of a battle here by middle, but again coming up short. As he ends up missing the shot just barely and drops to 73 HP. Nothing that he can't work against as of yet. But he's going to get pressure from Boiler in a very big way potentially in just a moment here, depending on the direction that EFrag take this. That's going to be a good start once again from Victor over on the side of EFrag by taking down Keo. It is still traded back out by ENVYUS, and they cannot work for trades. They have to get free kills here if they want to try to hold any single advantage. They're still very disadvantaged on the gunplay. And there's Kenny finding a free kill from the side of the CT. He's taking down Dreamer. Happy looking for another one here too. He's going to find it versus Spy Leader. And now the members of ENVYUS have too big of an advantage, unfortunately. And Kale's going to try to find his way in. Does get the advantage initially versus NBK because he has to trade his guns out, but NBK is still winning the duel versus NKL. And now it's just Bubble versus the world, essentially. The player they've managed to take down is Keo, and as he walks in, hello from Kenny. Takes out Bubble. And there's another one being run very quickly there by the side of the CTs here. And they're looking very good indeed to try and close things out. And I mean, again, from EFrag, like, you can sort of make sense of this to some degree. You can sort of try and make sense of this economical strategy they've been working for on the T side because of the fact that they're so far behind, and they're basically just forcing for the sake of trying to have guns into their hands, but really without any utility. And here we go now. This is actually just going to get super chaotic right at the beginning of the round. Bubble will be able to stop Apex at the very least, but these guys were acting very, very quick to this one. Kenny even finding an op kill on NKL too. Victor is already the last player left alive. He does manage to get himself through T-Apps and gets himself a good angle in the apartments here. but Kio's moved against it. Kio's going to be a little low, so he's not necessarily the best person to take this duel. So we'll probably see Victor take out Kio. That's exactly what will happen, but they now know exactly where he is to some degree. NBK going to toss the nade inside of the apps here. It almost catches Victor too, so that's actually pretty good intuition coming out from NBK. The problem for Victor, though, is he has no bomb control, so he's going to have to look for this one. And obviously, we've seen NBK just camp himself inside of Mexico now. And he's going to try to get a better angle against this player. Victor moving out, trying to investigate, figuring out where these players are. The bomb is sitting down, actually, inside of Mexico too, I should mention too. So it would have been very, very easy if NBK wanted to just, like, you can see where the bomb is. If NBK wanted to, he could just camp right here. And assuming he didn't get shot from behind, he could just basically wait for this player to come towards him. And then easy pickings for the most part. So there we have it now. ENVYUS, they're going to be up on their match point. 15 points for them. Double upset coming out now as both Kenny and Happy are able to pick that one up. So full rifles for the rest of the team. And eFrag, again, they get themselves with AKs now. They've gotten past the awkward Galil phase, but there's still no utility. So how are they going to make this take happen? If it's through aim, I'm not really too confident because, again, we haven't really been seeing anything amazing besides Victor. And this is another factor here, too, that plays in pretty heavily for these guys. We can talk about it more at the end of the game, but you can just see the scoreboard there, and that becomes relevant in more of a moment here. But NBK picking up these kills left and right. A couple coming out for eFrag, but ultimately it's left into a 1 versus 2 for Dreamer. He might have a chance at this one. The big obstacle is going to be getting past Kenny, though, who's sitting back up here right now. And if he finds that op shot, which it looks like he might, GG's will be had. He lights him there through the balcony a little bit. And again, just going to choose safety for the time being as NBK sits inside of Mexico. But Kenny now trying to find his way outside of this. Basically playing out this 1 versus 1 for as long as he needs to. NBK doesn't want anything to do with this one. And Kenny, there we go, shuts it out, takes out Dreamer. And that's going to end the match, guys, 16-8. But again, you can see the scoreboard there from eFrag. We had some really good fraggers like Victor and a couple of the other guys too. Trying to remember specifically who else was leading the top now that we sort of lost the players. It's pretty hard to look towards. But whoever was playing on B with Victor, I think it was... Oh, I forget who it was now. I can't remember exactly who it was. It was Victor and... Hold on, if I see his name, I'm going to remember it. 1 second. Victor and Spy Leader. I think Victor, Spy Leader, and Bubble are probably the biggest 3 players there for eFrag. But for the rest of the guys, we like barely saw anything from them. So unfortunately, with a top-heavy performance like that, it can work out okay if those players never end up dying. But the problem is if they're leading the charge and constantly relying on them to pick up any kills whatsoever, if they're picked off early in the round, then you're just not going to do anything for the rest of the round, as the rest of your players are floating behind. So unfortunately, that doesn't allow you to do so much. And ENVYUS just dominated once they were able to take control of things on that T side there. So 8-16 is going to be the map number 2 score. As we said before, that ends the match as well. 2-0 in the favor of the guys from ENVYUS today, and that is going to close out the stream. So thank you all very much for tuning in. If you've enjoyed the cast and would like to follow me on Twitter, my Twitter is @BLUCSGO. Completely up to you, of course. And beyond that, I hope you all have a wonderful evening, and we'll see you next time here for the StarSeries Series Season 14.